Welcome to another Howls and Growls breakdown, and today we're talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Denver Nuggets, and really that means we are talking about Minnesota's suffocating defense against Denver's buttery offense. Because while there is a ton of things that are going to go into this epic series, that battle is going to be the headline. If Minnesota are going to take down the reigning champs, they're going to have to do it by staying connected defensively. Now you can say that against any team, and staying attached to potential scorers is always going to be a hugely important part of any defensive game plan. But with Nikola Jokic as Denver's offensive hub and the offensive scheme that swirls around him, it's never more important than against the Nuggets. And that's because the Nuggets run the league's most dangerous movement offense, and they punish every mistake that the defense makes when it comes to staying connected and staying within the designated matchups. They are methodical and they are precise. All it takes is one miscalculation by the defense and they are going to score. So you see here they're going into their elbow split action, where these two players split around Jokic at the elbow, and Reed tries to cheat here by going under the action, but that means Edwards can't switch on the split action, and you end up with Ant, Reed, and Anderson in no man's land as Denver gets an easy layup. So against the Nuggets, it's all about connectivity of the defense. As soon as Minnesota misread an action or fall behind on a screen either on or off the ball, Jokic is going to find the right man, or the Nuggets are going to scheme their way into an open shot. So again here, Edwards is going to try and cheat the action by coming around here rather than fighting through these two screens to stay on MPJ's hip, but now he's got those two screens to get through when Denver flip the action and Porter Jr. slips backdoor to the rim. And that's what Denver are going to do to a defense that doesn't stay connected. They blend their shot making with really smart cutting and playmaking from all positions. When Nickeil Alexander-Walker overplays Porter Jr. on this handoff action, he's just going to punish him backdoor and get to the rim for easy points. It's very simple stuff, but it's very effective if the defense isn't on point all night long. Again, you're going to see Jokic playing point guard a lot in this series, and the Wolves get tangled up on this switching action with Conley and McDaniels overcommitting to the threat of Murray, and that springs Brown open to get downhill on that cut, and with Jokic pulling Gobert out of the paint, and with his ability to hit cutters, it becomes an easy finish for Denver. So you kind of get the point here. Denver are really awesome and they're going to punish defenders for mistakes, and they're going to do it consistently from buzzer to buzzer. That's what makes them so tough to defend. But the thing that Minnesota has in their favor in this series is that these mental mistakes defensively are mostly anomalies. They're one of the best defensive groups of the modern era, and they've shown they can find ways to stay connected to Denver's offense and use their defense to fuel their game, even against those heavyweight offenses. So what we have seen in these matchups with Minnesota and Denver is that the Wolves are going to put Gobert on Gordon as a roaming big, and Towns or Reed on Jokic, but you have to blend that with this. Conley gets over that original ball screen to shut down an option, Edwards stays with the 45 cut here to shut down another option, and now you see that two big scheme come into play. Gordon isn't going to shoot, Jokic drives the seam, and now Gobert can come off Gordon to block the shot as that roaming rim protector. But I actually think more important than that matchup is the way Minnesota commit to this overarching point that I'm making here of staying connected off ball and especially avoiding soft switches. There's no good way to shut Denver down, but that's the best way to make life more difficult for them. You see here Jokic is calling Jamal Murray up as the screener to get a quick switch onto McDaniels, but Gobert's got to fight through that and get back to Jokic to avoid those two mismatches, meet him at the rim, and then trust that Edwards is going to get out here to contest the shooter. It's just really imperative that Minnesota keeps those matchups at all times. So on this possession, they could easily give up the off-ball switch here with Edwards and McDaniels, but they keep the matchup so that McDaniels can get through the handoff action on the dangerous MPJ, and then Edwards can stick on KCP where he is better suited to get through the ball screen. And you're never safe with Jokic in isolation, but getting him there late in the shot clock is better than having him pass his teammates open after soft switching into disadvantaged positions. This is going to be Minnesota's superpower against the Nuggets in this series. If they're going to win 4 games, it's going to be because they execute this over and over again. So McDaniels needs to stay with Murray here instead of soft switching onto KCP. Then he needs to mess up this handoff so Gobert doesn't have to jump out at the ball. Now it's Edwards' turn. He's a step behind, but he still needs to get over the screen and keep chasing so that Gobert doesn't have to leave Jokic to switch onto MPJ, and you see how that chase keeps them matched up. But because Denver are so well drilled, they're going to make you beat them again. They recycle it, and McDaniels has to get over a screen again, and even if he gets hung up, he needs to chase so Gobert can avoid committing to that switch again, and eventually you get back to that late clock ISO with Jokic having to force a tough look over Gobert. That's what I mean when I say avoiding the soft switches. That possession had 4 different occasions where Denver worked to get a matchup that they liked, and Minnesota shut off their water every time. It is a tall task to keep dogging the heels of Denver's ball movement and keep maintaining those desired matchups, but if Minnesota can't do that consistently, it's just really hard to beat this Denver team. The final portion of this is maybe the most important. The Wolves need to find their matchups and find their scramble mode in transition. Denver are going to push off misses and turnovers, and if they are able to pick apart Minnesota's transition defense, it's going to be a long series for the Wolves. Again, Minnesota have proven to be really good at this though. Here McDaniels overcommits at half court, but he's really diligent in getting back to the shooter to run him off the line, and Edwards is also quick to pivot out of gap help back to Murray while Conley stunts at him from the corner to stop a catch and shoot 3, and that effort from the perimeter guys shuts off the transition and turns it back to a half court game. Now it's Conley and Edwards refusing to give up the switch in the mismatch, and that means Gobert can come off that non-shooting 4-man as that roving weak side shot blocker. Unlike in the half court where it's all about finding a matchup, transition is all about finding a body and relying on the help. So McDaniels gets in front of the ball here, but then he has to fan back out to the dangerous shooter 2 passes away while Edwards finds his man in transition as well. And even if they work a driving lane, Towns can help at the rim by stepping off Jokic and walling up to force a miss, while Gobert rotates over to box out Jokic on the glass. It's going to be super important that Minnesota are really attentive and really well drilled in Denver's transition opportunities in the same way that they have to be in the half court, because the Nuggets are deadly when they are running in waves, especially when Jokic is tip of the spear with his ability to make the right decision as a playmaker or as a finisher himself. This is an execution series, and against the reigning champs, Minnesota's execution has to be precise all series long. Fortunately for them, they've been the best defense in the league all season long, and that's what's going to make this series a real bloodbath. Thanks again for watching Howls and Growls. Please subscribe for more.